Hello, hello. Hopefully, you can hear me, my beauties and bees. Thank you so much for swinging by tonight. To the first time I'm trying to do this and seeing how YouTube feels about me doing reviews of cryptid movies and documentaries. So, if this works out, we will continue to do this. This tonight's movie, if you can't see by the title, The Legend of Boggy Creek, is very important to me as part of my childhood growing up, which is bizarre. There was this night when I was a kid. Everybody, usually me and my twin brother were always together, but I was up by myself, whatever the reason, watching. I could have sworn it was USA Up All Night, but I went back to look at their schedule, and I guess it wasn't because I don't see that on there. But some late night cable network had The Legend of Boggy Creek on, and I was in the middle of the night. It was like 2 or 3 in the morning, and I was watching that by myself in the dark. It was really impactful for me, and it kind of stirred my love of horror too, because it gave the character some empathy. So, which we'll see when we get into the story a little bit. But I didn't want to do this alone, and Sasquatch fans are not hard to come by. But I wanted to maybe have somebody join me who's approaching this with a brand new eye. So I have invited on our friend Dave from the Captive Desk. Hello, Dave.
Hello, Bree. Hello, everybody.
Hey,
Good to see you.
everybody. So you had never heard of this before, is that right?
Nope.
Yeah. So, uh, I sent him a request to see if he wanted to come on and hang out and do this, and he said he was down for it. So you binged watched the movie today, is that right? I watched it the first
Just
time today in forever, but yeah.
just before we came on, so I just got a quick glimpse of it through double speed and a fast click. Yep.
Yeah. All right. So, what did you before we get into actually watching I got I clipped it down like to a 20-minute movie, so we're not going to watch the whole thing. Like 80% of the movie, as I was telling Dave, 80% of the movie is like be real stuff, so that you can just trim out. So lots of pretty shots of the Arkansas swamps. If you want to watch the whole thing, definitely do so. We're just going to do like a little fair use review. There are other cryptid movies and such that I would love to do reviews of as well. Things like Paranormal Activity. That'd be a fun one to do. I don't know where you'd start on that though. It's a whole world building with Paranormal Activity. Did you get caught up in the Blair Witch craze?
No.
No. Yeah, I
No.
love found footage when I was a teenager. I was like just the right age to be targeted. I was like 14 or something when that came out. Just the right age to be, yeah, oh, this has got to be
Yeah,
real. And
I was a little bit older, so yeah.
yeah. But did you fall for it, I guess is what I was asking. Cause I did when I was younger, when I first watched. I was like, oh man, this is real. That's so crazy. How did that happen?
No, but no, but I've got a cute little story. One of my sons fell for the mermaids on the Discovery Channel show. He came to me and Dad, did you see the mermaids on the Discovery Channel?
Yeah, the
So
body found. Oh,
yeah, I let it go for a little bit so he could kind of enjoy the moment, and then I said, "Hey, by the way,
yeah.
but it was yeah, that was a moment. And now and then I remind him about it. So
They lost a lot of street cred for that, though, for doing that
they did.
documentary. People,
Yeah.
people are like, "Nah, we don't like you making these, you making these fake documentaries as if they're real and historical." But now it's all like Pawn Stars and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
yeah, they did one similar to that with Megalodon too, if I recall correctly, where there's like, oh, Megalodon's
Hmm.
been proven to be still around. No, that's just not the case.
I watched it.
Watch the
I
Megalodon
I
one.
wa- I can't resist. I watch them all. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Well, I used
I
to love
watched
Monster
Finding.
Quest.
Monster Quest, Finding Bigfoot with Bobo. I love watching Bobo. So yeah.
Yeah. By the time that Finding Bigfoot came around, I started to get a little bit jaded with Sasquatch research and was like looking more for more bizarre stuff. I started getting into like skinwalkers and stuff instead of Bigfoot because I was starting to get to this feeling that's like, it's been a long time. I think somebody would have accidentally found one by now and been able to document it properly. And still, right now, the Patterson Gimlin footage, which was taken in the 60s, is the best we have. Like, why have we not? Everybody's got a phone in their pocket now.
I that's what I said. That there's a better argument for the Sasquatches running around if there wasn't such a large population in this country. Then you could argue they're hiding out somewhere. But yeah, to not have any roadkill or on trail cams or, on down the line, it's less and less likely to have a breeding population is the big problem.
Yes, exactly. Having them be sustainable. Before we get into the actual review, let's give a quick whoop whoop to everybody out there in the live chat. We had Miss Lemon was first, by the way. You know Miss Lemon? Yep, Miss Lemon was our first visitor. Then we had Tina Jones. Hey, Tina. Then Dr. Tapioca Weasel, who has transcended to Mantis level on the channel membership. That's a sweet looking purple and green badge you got there. Sandy's got one too. Those are I think it's the first I've seen those so far. We got Logan Fisher. Hello, Logan. Yeah, we got a few people popping in. Rick, Spooky. Yeah, thank you guys for joining us for some sassy talk. Now, since Dave mentioned that he hadn't really heard of this before, I'm wondering. Cause I grew up in Missouri, which is Arkansas adjacent. If this is just something that never really wasn't as widespread as I thought. But I'm gonna do a quick poll. See if anybody's heard of this before. Had heard of this before tonight. I know somebody messaged me that the second one's like free to watch too. So we might have to do that sometimes. Watch the whole dang thing since it's free to watch.
Yeah, I saw it. I saw it on the list. Was free to watch.
Well, there's two sequels. There's the sequel of the studio
77.
Yeah,
the 77 version one too. Yeah.
And then there's an 85 version, which is the real sequel. Well, the 77 version is the studio's sequel, Return to Boggy Creek, and then the 85 one's the director of the property made his own sequel, which is, it's something to see. But this is something to see too, and let's get it pulled up here. So like I said, I've trimmed it down. The first couple of minutes of it has really echoey audio because the way I had it set up, it wouldn't be the Hive if I didn't have audio issues, but I didn't have enough time to change it out. It's not too bad. It's more about capturing the mood than anything. There we go. Tell me if you can hear this. It should be pretty loud right off the bat.
What was that?
I don't know, but let's get out of here.
You don't hear anything?
I don't hear anything.
I was afraid this was going to happen. Let me see. I think I know how to bypass it. Just a second. I don't know, the audience could hear it. The audience could hear it, but you couldn't hear it. So we're going to try it this way. All right.
Yep.
You hear that fine? Okay.
What was that?
Good now.
I don't know, but let's get out of here.
Turn the system up a little bit. You say, I don't know, but let's get out of here. That's that.
Good advice.
Yeah, when you see something running across the road, looks like that.
Protection anything else. If I'd have had my right, I believe I could have knocked him down easy. But I doubt I would. I kept thinking, just a chance.
So the costume in this one's actually better than the one that they use in Return to Boggy Creek or the actual sequel, Boggy Creek, The Legend Continues.
Be amazing. If I'd have shot that thing and turned out to be a man, I'd have had to live with that the rest of my life.
All right, now we got the monster chasing some chickens around. I just thought that was funny. They put somebody in a ghillie suit and said, "Go chase the chickens around."
And well, there's a lot of wildlife that chase chickens around, so
Yeah.
having
Foxes.
the chickens going, yeah, then having them go crazy isn't unusual. So
They don't like the cat walking by. They don't like the raccoons messing around. Yeah, chickens are spooked by just about everything, especially when it's kind of dark. Yeah, I cut this down, cut out all the B roll. Like I said, there's some beautiful footage of the forest and swamps and creeks and everything down there. If you really want to see that and some wildlife too, there's lots of beavers and songbirds and stuff. But yeah, I just trimmed out the parts where we actually had characters interacting with the alleged creature, because that's what we're cryptid reviewing, is how their cryptid looks. So far, they've been keeping them ambiguous. It's kind of using the Jaws formula, you know, using that that method of less is more. Oh, we gotta smoke. We gotta smoke. We smoke when they smoke.
I was going to mention it's dated. I think everybody in this is smoking.
Yeah. All right. Continue. Do you know about guns? Can you explain the guns that these people have in this movie if I asked you about them? Or is that not
No.
something you're really versed on? Yeah, me neither. Dang it.
I know in parts of it they're shotgun shells, so I recognize when they're using the shotgun shells.
Yeah, there's a part where I know what they're using as a rifle too, because I see the rifles have the pointed bullets.
A lot of the time they're hunting small animals, so they said they were using bird shot, so that's
Yeah.
it's in a shotgun.
He stood right out in plain sight, right there in front of him. It was some kind of thing that I've never come across. Well, he stared at me for a little while.
Yeah, that looks like a shotgun.
Yeah, I thought so too.
Neither Fred Crabtree nor his Uncle James told anyone about their experience for years. They figured nobody would believe them.
See, I like how the kid, he don't hold back. He opens fire immediately. That second time dropped him to his knees. Did you see that? He went down. Two blasts from the shotgun to the chest, he went down, but he's not dead. Assuming that's bird shot, right? Really fine little pebbles. Grains almost, aren't they? just to try to take out the bird's wings.
Yeah, without actually destroying the little critter, so that there's no meat left, right?
Right. Yeah.
That's the thing. They have a lot of accounts from kids in here. They have a
Yeah.
lot of I was saying they have a lot of accounts from kids, and
That seems to
kids,
be
everything's bigger than life to a kid. So
that seems to be pretty standard too. It's the kids that are reporting stuff like this. Like when you talk about even like UFO sightings, or the Mothman sightings, that started with those kids out doing their road tripping, right?
and the Fatima prophecies, those are all from kids too.
Fatima, and
Yeah.
Flatwood Monster was kids. Yeah, there's a lot of them that are reported by children.
And the thing is, the kids have most of them have already heard the stories, so they've already got the story in their head.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, close this.
Later, they found 2-inch saplings broken down by the creature in his pain and fury. They saw crushed underbrush and bloodstains, which, in the excitement, no one thought to gather a sample of. But they did not find the creature.
I didn't mean for my typing to sound so loud.
Now this part right here, she could have just been dreaming, because
Yeah.
she was like out cold in her bed when the parents found her. That could have been a nightmare.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, they found the cat dead the next morning, but that could have just been a coincidence.
Yeah. After all those sightings and stuff, and they get these guys together, and this is just me fast forwarding through that part with some hillbilly music. So,
But I noticed that part though, that the parents, when they recounted it, that she was out cold and all. I think she might have been sweaty, cold, sweaty, or something. They said, and that sounded more like a nightmare.
Yep, like a
But
fever
this is
dream.
where but now this is where they're all going to go out full hunt here, right here.
Yep, everybody and their dog. Yeehaw! See, there's a good look at the suit right there, right? Oh, hold on, right there. To me, it looks like a ghillie suit. Like what you
It
wear when
does.
you're going out to hide in the bush. Except for there, it looks like a gorilla suit. That looks like a gorilla suit to me. Like, maybe it's a gorilla suit with under a ghillie suit. That'd be a good way to do it.
And that's where the part where they said the dogs gave up. They didn't like the smell. So
They couldn't get the
they
dog.
claim none of the dogs would track it for some reason. Of course, that's just the claim. So
Yeah.
so they kind of said, oh well, and you were talking about Monster Quest or whatever. It's similar. They get this big thing together, they head out, and about 5 minutes in, they go, oh, the weather's getting bad or something, and they all turn around and go back out.
It's time to go back home. Call it quits. I do want to give props to this movie. This isn't the actual soundtrack. It's just stock music that I put in behind it. But the soundtrack to this movie is actually what I was worried about, because it's got some. If you like folk sounding, it's like hillbilly pop music, basically. If you like that, I do. I used to be in a folk band, so that's kind of like I dig it. This movie is lit as fuck with that. So if that's what you're into, I do recommend watching the real version of it. Those songs are such bangers that I didn't want to play them and get a copyright strike, which is why I went through and made sure to trim this down the way I did.
It's said on the page that they are releasing a soundtrack, so you can get just the soundtrack for it.
Yeah. Go get him, guys. He's right there. Would you join a posse out hunting for wild man? If
No.
you were living in a town.
Too many orange deer get shot every year for me to be out with that many guns. It makes me a little nervous.
Yeah.
Maybe if I could keep them all in front of me. I would go out on a ghost hunt or anything, just for fun.
Oh yeah.
With armed people, it's kind of a recipe for disaster. So.
What did I play in the folk band? I played harmonica, guitar, mandolin, banjo, or I played bass when our bass player would play the banjo. So strings and harmonica mostly. I had a mountain dulcimer, but I never did end up playing it on stage. The cinematography on the shots of the monster and the fog are that's what I remember from when I was telling about my childhood. That's what I remember. I put this on the same level of seeing like Jason walking through the fog.
They spent a decent amount of money on it when they made it for the day. So
yeah,
they
real.
put a little bit of money into it.
When he's down in the bottoms, Travis always stops off for a visit and a cup of coffee with...
Now, this relationship between this old man and this little boy makes me wonder if the old man isn't the one leaving the three-fingered or three-toed footprints.
Herb Jones. Herb Jones is a man who likes a lot of privacy. He's been living alone
a lot
in
of
his apartment
privacy
for the past 20 years.
Don't mess with Herb. Yeehaw. You got some trout lines in the trees there. So in the town I grew up in, all the people that were upper middle class or whatever, we all had our properties in town, and then everybody had their property down on the river where they had like little shacks like this. And every now and then somebody's parents would get divorced, and one of their parents would go live in what they called the river shack. It was
any port in a storm.
Yeah, a strange phenomena. Yeah.
Hey, Herb! Well, friends.
Put on his best dirt-stained jeans for this video.
Travis always enjoys these visits with Herb, and never fails to bring him tobacco and other supplies. Herb can spin yarns for hours about his experiences with
a big old dead beaver, and he's just like rubbing its belly. Beavers are really soft though, and they said I've heard they smell like vanilla.
Wild creatures of the
Don't they
bottomland.
didn't they make perfume or something from their glands or something?
Yep, they do. They sometimes food flavoring too. But it's artificial vanilla flavoring comes from beavers.
Herb tells Travis to be on the lookout for a big old wild boar with double curled tusks he spotted a day or two earlier. Herb limps because
Oh, don't oversell it. I haven't played in years. I was moderately good. I wasn't like sensational or anything.
Well, I wanted to point out that the he says about watch out for the big, huge wild boar.
Mm-hmm.
And when they talk about the blood-curdling scream from this beastie, it sounds an awful lot like a wild boar. That screechy type sound.
Mm-hmm. Some parts of it sound like an elk bugling too, but yeah, there's a few different creatures that make some different sounds that are only seasonal, and you may only hear them once or twice in your lifetime.
Because they talk a lot, not just about the sightings, but they hear this thing a lot. That's what the scary part is.
So,
and I'm wondering if it isn't something that's squealing in the woods.
So there's another creature like this that's closer to my home. That's called the Momo or the Missouri Monster. I grew up in
that one. I know.
I grew up in a little town, like 30 miles north of that town that had that. So it was always part of the local lore and stuff, and that's mostly what people would talk about with how bad it smelled. Because I've talked to people who were involved in that. You know, I've installed when I was younger. I installed satellites for people, and I installed satellites in houses out there, and people tell you about their experiences with it and all the folklore behind it.
Well, swamp gas is methane, and
Yeah.
it stinks. So
he once
maybe some
accidentally
funky
shot part of
smells.
his foot away in a boating accident. Although he was all alone,
Was that scream on your end?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I think that's the little girl across the street.
Oh, okay.
She has powerful little lungs for a little one.
he made it out of the bottoms to a doctor.
Happens again, I'll shut the window.
Dang, Rick, that's backfired on ya.
I've been living down here by myself for a long time. About 14 miles by boat from my place to the nearest road. And it's a pretty good walk to town. Them Crabtree boys, especially that Travis, always drop by to see me when they come hunting or fishing. They always brung me tobacco and sugar and stuff like that. Even a bottle of wine every once in a while. Did you notice my bottle tree on the way in? I use them bottles as floats on my trot lines. I catch them mighty...
This is like a real old hermit that lives out there. By the way, he's playing himself, like talking about his real life. But he doesn't believe in this. I think he's about to say
big catfish and buffalo on them lines. Here an old crane flies over every day. Looks at my place. I don't know what he's looking for. Once you get to know these bottoms, you never lack for something to do. People always ask me.
Yeah, this is so we all say his name's Herb, but Spooky would say his name's Herb, or we got that backwards. He's trying to make a British joke,
I was
thinking
Herb. I was thinking Herb. Yeah.
Yeah, his name's Herb.
You gotta love Herb.
I think it's short for Herbert.
I tell him I stay because I like it better here than I would anywhere else.
Actually, I looked this guy up, by the way, and he died by falling through the floor of this ramshackle shack and not being able to get out and being so far away that no one could help him. So, a hermit life is not the life for me.
Looks like they could figure that out for themselves. And another thing, people always ask me, have I seen the Falk monster? Let me tell you something. There ain't no such thing. I've been living here in these bottoms for better than 20 years. I ain't never seen or heard no monster.
That sound right there, I think that sounds like an elk to me. I did leave some wildlife in there. That piano score too.
Excitement in the community reached a new peak when a farmer named O.H. Kennedy discovered these strange three-toed footsteps in Willie Smith's bean field. Radio,
All right,
newspaper,
now this
and
is the only
television
question I
coverage
had
resulted
for you,
in
Ray.
nationwide publicity.
What's that?
This is the only question I had for you. It's on my notes for you. What could make a three-toed track?
A hermit that shot 2 of his toes off that we just met a few minutes ago. That's my guess. That's my honest answer. I think old Herbert was a bit of a peeping Tom, and I think he had a ghillie suit that he would go out with. He had to go out in the woods and try to look at, because you notice there's a lot of young girls that this creature is trying to look at. So my theory is that Willie the hobbled Herbert, or not Willie, Herbert.
Herb.
Where'd I get Willie from?
Herbert.
They're talking about Willie here. I think that's my theory on it. But we'll see what other people think.
Might be over 4 inches wide.
Mr. Kennedy, you say you found these tracks late Sunday. Now, was that late yesterday afternoon?
Yes, sir. Just before sundown. My wife and I went out for a ride. She's been feeling poorly lately. And we decided to stop by the bean field to see if the ground was too wet to plow. We called Willie Smith right away.
Mr. Kennedy, do you think this creature could be a Sasquatch?
Sasquatch? I don't believe I know what that is, sir.
Well, the Sasquatch was the Indians' word for a legendary giant.
We got some herb apologists out there in the chat. Did you notice that?
I can't see it.
Oh yeah, you can't see it. Well, it's spicy. No, not really. Everybody seems to be getting along.
Tribe of very shy people. They live mostly in the woods up in the Pacific Northwest.
Well, I didn't see anybody. All I've seen, sir, is these tracks.
Well, now, doesn't the Sasquatch have a normal 5 toes? This thing here has only 3 toes.
Yes, and the adult Sasquatch footprint is bigger, too. It's 18 inches long on the average.
Could these be gorilla tracks?
So, when you think of an animal with 3 toes, you don't think of first of all, the mammals, you don't find that. Most mammals have either 5. We all descend from 5 fingers, right? So you can only lose fingers, and toes as well. But for a primate, all primates are going to have 5 fingers and 5 toes, so it can't be a primate. Bears have 5 fingers, bears have 4. Bears have 5 toes, yeah. So I don't know what would have three toes. They talk about some different ideas here.
No, I don't think it's a gorilla. A gorilla has 5 toes and very seldom moves upright on 2 legs for very long. This thing had to drop down on all 4s to travel this far.
What about a orangutan? This is the same thing people around here have reported seeing over the past few years. He's reddish brown, and that's the same color as orangutan.
Well, I don't think this could be orangutan. The number of the toes are wrong.
Excuse me, Mr. Kennedy, you spent a lot of time working in this field, right?
the number of the toes are just gonna always be wrong for anything that you name. The only things I can think of with 3 toes are birds.
Did you ever see tracks
And Herb.
like this any here before?
No, sir.
I
Can't
said
say
that
I
was
have.
that's what stumped
There's
me
a
in
lot
this
of
whole
fresh
thing
animal
is
tracks around
what the
this
tracks
people all the
could be.
time. Of deer and wolf, and bobcat, and all kinds.
There's also the Honey Island swamp monster that only has 3 toes. I think Momo might have had 3 toes too.
There's other
Look
tracks,
that up.
but I've never seen anything like these before.
Well, Mr. Kennedy, did you ever hear anything out of the ordinary down here?
Well, I've heard some pretty peculiar things out here, but I ain't never seen nothing unusual out of this before.
The edge of the woods over there, where Kennedy heard the creature.
Grandpa! You'll be great to wake up your grandpa. We saw it. We saw that monster. We saw it. You're getting filthy down there by that bean field. Stop that monster. What? You're gonna wake up your grandpa. If you don't be quiet, I'm gonna get a switch. Well, Mom, will you come down and see it and let us show you? Show me what? Show that you found monster.
You ever see that Missouri monster track?
See, there isn't anything over there. Well, there was. There was. That's where we saw it last.
See, he'll get you. That seems like maybe it's her boyfriend or something playing a prank on him there.
And that was seemed like a lot of drama for something they didn't really explain very well or anything. They just kind of it was just for like effect.
These are the good shots right here. Running across the road. I like the way that it was done.
And that's one of the worst way to judge anything is when you're driving in the dark.
Listen.
Actually, one of my friends was telling me about their skunk ape sighting in Florida. When they were driving at night.
I hear something breathing.
Uh-oh. You scared? I remember this part really intense when I was a kid. Let's keep waiting for it to...
Get the gun! Get the gun!
Yeah, no, that I think is a rifle, right? Because narrow barrel and. That's super noisy. Sorry, guys. I didn't realize it was gonna be so. Wah!
I don't hear it anymore. I don't either. Be still. I'm gonna look out. No. It's coming.
See, there. That's the footprint Does that? I mean, obviously this wasn't. This was a reconstruction of it. But that's a weird looking footprint. Looks like an alien footprint or something. You know, 3 toes, the old fat heel like that. So it's walking plantigrade with 3 toes. I can't think of anything that walks plantigrade with 3 toes. That's that. I believe this footprint that size. It's like a frog track. A gigantic frog track.
Bobby, come here, come here.
What do you want?
Come here, come here.
Yeah, you guys will hear alerts and stuff on my system too, because the way I have to share this in order to, for you guys and for Dave to be able to hear it all together. So sorry about that, but yeah, you'll hear like the beeps and the notifications and stuff. Sorry. Yeah.
That guy's footprint.
That ain't no footprint.
That's funny.
What's so funny about that?
He's only got 3 toes.
It's a giant sloth. That sounds about right, Spooky.
Well, it's getting kind of late and the fish aren't biting anyway, so I think we ought to go.
Or it's herb with 3 toes.
Spooky down here.
It's 3-toed herb. What are these weird tracks down here by 3-toed herb shack there, Dave?
Well, I done had this hunting accident, and I shot dang half my foot off.
So I'm thinking like the Boggy Creek may have some infrasound vibrations or something. That sounds like a possibility. Make people feel so uncomfortable out there. When the fog hangs over, I think infrasound travels differently to our ears too, because fog always makes you feel like a little bit of eeriness, you know.
Well, they said it's a eeriest place you'll ever be just by the setting. So you get, apparently people get that feeling just when they first see the place. So it has that vibe,
that effect. Left too much Be Real in here. Should have cut that part out. Because this is the stuff that'll get you the notice is the music scores. Not that I expected this one to get monetized anyway, but yeah. Yeah.
What do you know? They got an indoor bathroom.
That's fancy.
That's fancy living.
Better watch out, though. It's all. Turn that down a little bit, dang. I need my ears.
Get your gun, Charles. Let's go.
Yeah, this is a good time. Let's split up, gang. That's what you're supposed to do. Yeah, I noticed his when he came running through there was no poop stains. There would have been poop stains on mine. He went in there to drop a deuce and a gorilla arm punched through the screen. That would
do it.
Cause a bodily reaction that I don't think most of us could stop.
Here he is! Same place you go the other night. Hold this, Bobby. Bobby, take a light!
Ooh. You think the sheriff would already be... If that would happen in any of the counties that I've ever lived in, the sheriff would be on the way. They hear that many... Some neighbors hear that many gunshots in a row.
Well, and through the whole thing, this beast has been shot a lot of times.
Yeah, he
So
just keeps
if
taking
it's
it.
actually being... Yeah, it's been shot point blank range and right in the face and everything, and it just keeps on going.
That little boy shot it twice. It's like the Energizer Bunny.
It seems to be immune, so.
I think he got him, man. I think I saw him fall over.
Let's go see. Be careful.
Let's split up and check for clues.
Get me started with a clue.
You can ask questions like how many people came in the bathroom.
Somebody come back here! Bobby, will you go back and take care of the girls?
Golly,
Golly shoot. Yeah, I say stuff like that. I'm a hillbilly. I just mask my accent. There it was. Did you see?
Back and take care of the girls?
golly.
I want to watch that. Catch that. There's a spot. I want to pause it. So we should be able to see its face. Just missed it. There we go. See the eye hole? There's the mouth. This is actually a real gorilla costume, I think, right here. I don't think that's what they were using when they were showing it walking in the woods, though. I think it's just, they just used it for this scene. That's definitely a gorilla mask. Woo! Go through the door without opening it. Ah. Yep, and that's all I got. So if you want to see the rest of the movie, it's available for you out there on various forms of media. I think I got it. I rented it off of YouTube, but I saw it's on Amazon and everything else too. So if you want to see the rest of the movie, it has it. Like I said, the soundtrack's a banger. But as far as its place in Bigfoot lore, I guess based on the poll that I ran, most people had never heard of this documentary, which is surprising to me because I grew up with it. Well, I shouldn't say I grew up with it, but I the first time I watched it, I was like 9, so like it was the middle of the night, but still.
Well, I thought it was a nothing little thing, but I looked up and it ran in theaters and everything, and so.
In Ozark lore, it's big. Like if you have your communities anytime, because I guess Hannibal, Missouri, which is where I grew up at, is like the northern reaches of Ozark culture, right? That is just a little point that runs up along the Mississippi Valley, and so we got a lot of that same crossover. Plus, we had our own monster like that, the Missouri monster, Momo. And the sightings were similar. Usually, teenagers out and about doing teenager stuff, and something happens that they see what they report as a hairy monster. This happens in other small towns as well. Ohio Grassman. I think every state has their own. You know, the Minnesota Iceman, the Texas Sheep Squatch. Every state has their own little small town monsters that lurk in the shadows. And they were really big.
I think you have to. It's like having a state bird or something.
Yeah,
you just have to have a monster.
Either that, or you need a alternative, like ghost or haunted. The town I grew up in had a haunted house too, but everybody thought it was haunted. But it was always fun to go out on those little adventures on the back roads where somebody saw something once upon a time, and I should just do that again. There's places here in the town I'm in now that I could do too, that I did visit when I was a teenager but haven't visited since. There's Spook Light that's called the Levee Walker that north of the city I live in. I could go out there, stuff like that. Am I seeing my audio reflecting in your headphones? I know I can see mine, like on here when you talk. Like, watch the side of my head.
I think my screen moved a little bit on me or something.
Yeah, you can see what I'm hearing. Check it out. No, wait, on my side, you can see like when you talk.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. It does.
I love these headphones. Yeah.
I don't know. My light. Oh, I know what it is. Probably because it got dark out. That's what.
Yeah.
That's why my screen all of a sudden is. And breeze might have blown. Anyway.
Yeah.
But I got a couple. I just want to throw in my couple quick notes.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. One of the problems in this is that is the age. Is that this thing's been around for like 100 years. So you have to take into account that it has to become folklore because it comes into the age of the thing would have died even if it was somebody running around scaring people. I mean, 100-year-old man isn't running around the woods scaring anybody anymore. Yeah, or they're already gone. And other ones are, like I said, a lot of kids saying, "Oh, I saw exactly what Grandpa's been telling us in the stories for 10 years before bedtime."
Yeah.
And other ones can be explained with just a bear or an elk or other large animal that's just out in the woods. The big thing was the three-toed claim. So
yeah, that kind of throws a monkey wrench into everything. Yeah,
that's the mystery in my notes that I took is the three-toed. So that would be the one thing that's hard to. Of course, that's just the claim. I don't think they have any casts or anything, do they?
No. Well, there may have been some casts made. I didn't see any when I was looking it up though. We can hold on. We can share some of this. You won't need sound for this one, but we're gonna look at the folk monster and see. Prior to the 20th century, several alleged sightings in the general area to a large hairy creature circulated in the 1850s. So this has been going on for a while. In 1856, yeah. So the Memphis Inquirer and the Cato Gazette. Local residents claim that the creature had roamed the area since 1964. But those sightings had not been reported. Local folklore also holds that the creature can be further traced back to sightings in 1946. Most early sightings were allegedly in the region of Jonesville, as the creature was known as the Jonesville Monster during this period. In 1955, the creature was allegedly spotted by a 14-year-old boy who described it as having reddish-brown hair, sniffing the air, and not reacting when it was fired upon with birdshot. Investigator Joe Nickel observed that the description was consistent with a misidentified black bear, Ursus americanus. Are you with me so far? I'm going to keep going. All right. 1970s. The folk monster first made local headlines in 1971 when it was reported to have attacked the home of Bobby and Elizabeth Ford on May 2nd, 1971. So this was over 50 years ago now. It's a weird thing. The 70s is 50, like 73 is 50 years ago, right? That's crazy.
You see these grays?
Yeah.
They remember riding my bicycle in the 70s. You know?
Mm-hmm. Where was I? Oh yeah, 1971. Yeah, according to Elizabeth Ford, the creature, which she initially thought was a bear, reached through a screen window that night while she was sleeping on a couch. It was chased away by her husband and his brother Don. During the alleged encounter, the Fords fired several gunshots at the creature and believed that they had hit it, though no traces of blood were found. An extensive search of the area failed to locate the creature, but three-toed footprints were found close to the house, as well as scratch marks on the porch and damage to a window and the house's siding. So I'm wondering if I stuttered there because I started thinking as soon as I read that maybe it's a bear with a deformed paw, you know?
Or yeah, because it matches a bear because bears are known to break into houses.
And a bear that got its foot stuck in a trap or something and had to lose a couple of toes.
But it still wouldn't explain a 120-year-old bear, though.
No. The three-toedness doesn't come up until the 60s, though.
Oh, okay.
Or even the 70s, I think. Let's see. The creature was allegedly sighted again on May 23rd, 1971, when three people, D.C. Woods Jr., William Woods, and Miss R.H. Sedgrass, reported seeing an ape-like creature crossing U.S. Highway 71. More sightings reports were made over the following months by local residents and tourists who found additional footprints. The best known footprints were found on a soybean field belonging to a local filling station owner, Scott Keith. They were scrutinized by game warden Carl Gallion, who was unable to confirm their authenticity. Like the Ford prints, they appeared to indicate the creature only had 3 toes. So that's what's the source for that. Tracks of the Arkansas Gazette. That's just going to take us to the newspaper. Anyway, yeah, so that's the folk monster and the folklore behind it. So I hope everybody enjoyed this little romp down the cryptic review. If this was fun, so if this does good, I'll definitely consider reviewing the sequel to this. There's also, what other cryptic movies could we do? I had mentioned doing the found footage stuff, maybe something like Paranormal Activity. I'm looking more for low budget stuff. So I might find some stuff like online and do cryptic reviews on them. Like we did the Time to Wait series, and that would have been more fit for this than Cryptic Corner. So I thought I'd start doing this and inviting people on. And I see that Miss Lemon is out there, and she'd probably be a great guest for a show like this. Anyway, please remember to be kind, take care, and we will see you next time, my beauties and bees.